All right, everybody, what's up? This is Brendan with Traklife, and we have a new artist interview today. Today, we're going to be interviewing the fine gentleman from Rightfield. How are we doing, guys?
Hello, thanks for having us.
Well, yeah, thank you.
To give a quick intro on these guys, I've been following them for about a year now. They're artists I discovered from the Quadio Discord, which we're going to get into a little bit in the interview. So I'm really, really excited to get this going. So first off, guys, if you could tell us a little bit about yourselves, where you're from, how Rightfield got started, and a little bit about your music.
Yeah, so we grew up together. We went to school together, elementary school, played sports together all the way through 7th grade. I went to a different high school, then we reconnected in college, lived in the same dorm room, realized we both did music, started writing some songs, and we moved into the same house, shared a bunk bed, and built Rightfield through the last few years of college. We just graduated, and now we're here full-time in it.
Sweet. And you guys said you're from Dallas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we both grew up in Dallas, and that's where we live right now.
Awesome. And where did you guys go to school? You said you were in the same dorm room.
We went to University of Arkansas in Fayetteville.
Awesome. Keeping it in the South. We love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm based in New Orleans right now, so I totally understand that. We love it down here.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
So tell us a little bit about your music, if you can, because listening to the album, it's a whole lot of different styles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Reed and I grew up with a lot of different musical influences and backgrounds. I listened to a lot of like singer-songwriter and old country stuff growing up. A lot of just like kind of slower, more intimate acoustic music. And Reed, you can tell them about your.
I come from more of like a scene background, like pop punk and metal and stuff like that, but then like a lot of 90s country too. So
But yeah, basically, I mean, we listened to crazy different music growing up, and kind of just like learning how to figure out what we kind of when we talk about our album, we sort of just kind of talk about figuring out what kind of music we make best as a pair, how to best utilize both of our strengths in making music. And I think that's why there's such a broad spectrum of what came out on the first album of ours, and kind of that was sort of just like us experimenting, and for the first time being like, let's really dive into this and put a ton of energy and time into it, and see just like what we can do as a band. And so it came out in some really slow, intimate songs. It came out in some 80s influenced pop songs. It came out in some stadium type rock songs. And so it's been fun to just kind of like over time just kind of chisel that down and narrow down to what it feels like Rightfield really is. Because I don't think when we started making the album we really had an answer for that at all. But yeah, it's been fun to go through that process and kind of figure out an identity through trial and error. I guess just like a fun trial and error. I don't think none of it was like we wrote bad songs. We still write bad songs, but we're proud of the album as a whole. But it was a lot of a trial and error in a fun way.
That was a pretty phenomenal way to put it, I think. Everyone still writes bad songs. I write plenty. So just about whittling down what you like. That's the important part.
Totally.
you need to speak to kind of the process of making and then promoting and releasing your record in the middle of the pandemic, because I know you released it in October, if I remember right. And that was kind of when people were just getting back to school and work while still dealing with, the full effects of the pandemics pre the mini recovery we're seeing now, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we released the first version of the album in January, and then the deluxe in May. So that was we started releasing, the first single was in October, then single November, single December. But honestly, making the album through COVID was extremely helpful. When COVID just started, that was the first time Jack and I ever had a real conversation about, hey, like, let's actually try to do this thing. Let's take this seriously for once. Because before it was just kind of like, we were doing it with a bunch of friends, and when we had enough money to go record a song, we just go record the next song that we could write, that we finished, that sounded like a cohesive song. We're like, oh, cool. And then we just drop it the next day. Really not much thought about it. But then COVID happened and we couldn't play shows anymore. And we were just like, okay, well, let's take this really seriously. So we connected with a buddy in Nashville who was going to help produce our record for us. And we would just take trips out there about a week at a time and just kind of isolate out there with him and bust out 2 songs, go back to Arkansas, then go back to Nashville, and we had another 2 songs. And it was really a great process. We really got to learn a lot about, honestly, music through it, because we got to focus on it so much during COVID. I wouldn't say that we are yet great musicians or anything like that, but we really didn't know much about writing and composition or anything related to that. So COVID really allowed us to really focus on our craft with less distractions than we would have had.
That's awesome. And you guys are obviously still not based. You said you went to Nashville a week at a time to record, but you guys aren't based in, one of like the big 3 of New York, Nashville, and Los Angeles. What do you think? Do you think that's helped you or hurt you in any way? Like, and do you think that's kind of informing the way you're doing things at all, or not?
We definitely, I mean, we've had a lot of conversations about it, and growing up, or not growing up, but starting in Arkansas and in Fayetteville, it's sort of like feels kind of like being in a small town. There's not a massive music scene, but there's a lot of support for the small music scene that is there, and so it was kind of cool starting in Fayetteville, and it felt like every time we were releasing a song, it seemed like there was just a few more people that were really excited about it and probably made us think that we were better than we were at the time. But we felt like the people around us, at least just in the city of Fayetteville and Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas area, were kind of excited about us and helping inspire new songs and offering us shows and stuff like that. We were kind of like the only band of our kind in the area, and so it didn't feel like there was any competition in a way. It seemed like when we looked at Nashville and LA and New York, it seems like there's just like competition all over the place. I think the more time that we've spent around those areas, we've realized that it's not quite as much competition as much as collaboration. That's been a fun part of just getting to kind of be around Nashville and spend some time there and work with other artists that maybe we've listened to their music, they've listened to our music, and we get to make some fun stuff together. So it's been fun. There's pros and cons to both. One of the things that we like about living in Dallas or just living in Texas and Arkansas, as opposed to those other kind of hotspot cities, is that we can kind of turn it off a little bit at the end of the day. We can kind of like once we've once we worked all day, and sometimes we work all night too, but you can just kind of shut the laptop and sit on your porch for a second and not be surrounded by the scene, which is kind of cool and something that both of us kind of thrive on.
Sweet. We've talked about the making of the album and kind of your process. Let's move to the live shows. It's just the two of you. So like, what are the live shows like? So obviously it's a full band on the recordings.
Yeah, well, when we go to shows, we take a drummer with us. So, I mean, our live shows they're electric. We make songs as big and powerful as we can. Like we absolutely leave it all on the stage. It is not a chill feat. Like we're on the ground, we're in the air, we're ripping solos, screaming. We love live shows.
Yeah, it's fun.
We're pretty new to it, and we have a lot of room to get better and to learn more of that dynamic, but it's something we're extremely committed to. It's definitely something we value a ton, and we want to be known as a big touring act, not just people who make pretty good music, you know.
And you guys have a favorite so far, kind of place to play or show you've done? Any fun memories or stories?
We haven't played a ton of shows yet. You know, we're about to go on our first tour in September, but I think probably the best show we played yet was right before we graduated. We played a show at our main venue in Arkansas and sold it out with a bunch of people that we knew and a bunch of, you know, people who were students and locals and all that. And it was a blast to say goodbye to what built our band in a place, you know, that we built it there. It was a cool moment.
That sounds awesome. And then this tour you've got coming up starting in September, where's it taking you?
Going we're starting in Texas. We're going up north to Illinois and Chicago. We're going across west to Colorado, Utah, Seattle, Portland, down through the West Coast, and then back over to the Midwest and the Columbus, Minneapolis area. All new places for us, which will be really fun.
Oh, for sure. You guys gonna be on your own? Are you partnering up with bands in the cities? How are you approaching the first big tour?
We are supporting two other bands called Friday Pilots Club and The Orphan the Poet. They invite us out to come warm up the stage for them. So we'll go. We'll be playing first at those shows and hopefully getting to learn a ton about touring. We have no idea what we're doing. We don't even we're trying to figure out how you get from one place to the other and where you sleep and when you drive. We don't know all of those things yet. And I'm sure it'll be like trial by fire. Is that even the right term? We're just gonna jump into it. I don't know, head first, and try to survive. Yep. It'll be really fun. We can't wait.
Well, yeah, everybody watching or listening to this or reading it, be sure you check out when those tour dates are. If you live in any of those aforementioned places, it's going to be history in the making. The first tour,
first Rightfield tour.
Yeah, going from sort of the making and release of the album to the live show. Let's dive into a bit how you decided to end up releasing it. Can you guys tell, because I'm sure a lot of people listening won't know, can you talk a little bit about what Quadio is and how that's kind of played into your journey so far?
Yeah, for sure. So Quadio is two parts, started by a family who wanted to be a part of the Sony system. And there's a Quadio Media and Quadio Records. Quadio Media is like the app and the program that everybody that's familiar with and kind of like the college-ish music scene. That's kind of like a community. And then Quadio Records is their management and label. And then they were the people who reached out to us in COVID and they've been extremely helpful. We've made a lot of great friends, made a lot of great connections, and they've been awesome. Our manager and the head of A&R at Quadio, his name's Abir, and he's been a godsend for us. He's been extremely helpful, and we really depend on his advice for a lot of things. So anybody who's looking for help for their music, I think that help is a good thing.
Yeah, it's like, what was kind of the initial connection for deciding to be part of Quadio Records? If I'm not mistaken, your release was the first one, if I remember correctly, from them.
Yeah. We were the first band to release something through Quadio, which is kind of cool. But it was honestly, we knew nothing. We knew nothing about the music industry at all. There were some people who reached out who had some funding and had some knowledge and had some good things to say. And, it took us forever to sign our contract because we just really knew nothing about it. And we had to consult a lot of people, but it seemed like a good thing for us. It seemed like there were some nice people who had experience, who wanted to help us and believed in what we did and didn't want to change our sound, didn't want to change our branding, didn't want to change who we were, just wanted to support our own vision. And it's worked out great. I think it's been an awesome thing. So the decision was pretty easy once all the fine details got out of the way.
They're awesome. They I think Reed said it well. They really are excited about who we are and what we're doing. They're not trying to as awesome as hits are, they're not just trying to fund us so that we can pump out hits for them. They're excited about us being artists and being bigger than just a number one single in the grand scheme of things, but being able to put together projects that we believe in and that we're excited about. And so it's cool to have someone and to have a team of people kind of in our corner, because it's tough for Reed and I sometimes when we're writing to sort of lose like focus on what it is that we want to do in the process of trying to make songs that people like or make songs that we like, or will people like this? Is this weird? Is this us? Just to have another voice of people who know us well and know what we're about, to kind of encourage us in the direction that we want to go. It's been big time. It's been awesome.
Totally. How important do you guys think it is that there is this kind of platform for young musicians, particularly college age musicians, to kind of get to connect and network and meet with each other kind of all across the country and the world even?
I'm sure that's really cool. To be completely honest, we have very little musical connection, I feel like, with people outside of our own circle. Like that's always been one of, I guess, the slower parts of our band, is we're not like extremely connected. And I'm sure that would have been really awesome. We just honestly weren't that plugged into all that when we were in college. We spent any time that wasn't doing our own music, we were camping or playing pool or things like that. But I imagine that's super cool.
Yeah, like that's one of the things that I think has been great about Quadio Records and the app and stuff. And yeah, and that's again, for people who may be tuning in late, that's how I discovered these guys in the first place, which has been super cool. So your track Gone, just yesterday I was seeing on social media, cracked the top 50 on the alternative chart. So congrats, guys. How's that feel?
Thanks. Yeah, that was really exciting. Kind of crazy. We weren't really expecting that, but it's been awesome to see it get some traction on the radio. Radio is alive.
Radio is alive, and despite what you says, rock is not dead.
Yeah, come on.
Seeing all the posts that have been sharing on the Instagram, it's like Post Malone and then Rightfield right below it, and I was like, that's like so
yeah awesome. Yeah, that's if nothing else, it was fun to share that on social.
Definitely.
Yeah, we honestly have no idea what it means to even like have a song charting on alt radio. We don't think about it that much, to be honest. We're just like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Our
And
management is excited about it. They're really excited about it. And because they're so excited about it, we are also really excited about it. But we don't have any context for like, yes, this means you guys are famous. Because I mean,
it doesn't mean that. It
it
just means
doesn't.
that our songs played a few times on the radio and whatnot.
It's really exciting, and we're pumped about it. It does not translate to dollar signs and hundreds of millions of screens.
Yeah, I'm still really broke.
Yeah, it's okay. We're not rich
Yeah.
because of this, but our name's actually Post Malone, and the Instagram post is doing really well. So it was worth it.
We're excited for top 50 on the actual charts.
Yeah.
Coming soon. We have one more question, and I always like to cap off the interviews with an all-telling, personality revealing, important, goofy question. So whoever wants to go first can, but what is the best dinosaur and why? Go.
T-Rex. T-Rex dibs. T-Rex totally kicks butt and does it with small arms, which people make fun of him for, but he's still a savage.
Yeah. In Transformers 4, Age of Extinction, when they release the really like ancient warriors that are really big and that transform into dinosaurs, I always thought the Stegosaurus looked the coolest. I was like, a pretty cool dinosaur. So that's my answer.
All right, guys, thanks for listening to this latest Traklife interview with Reed and Jack from Rightfield. You guys, where can listeners and viewers find you guys?
Instagram at I Love Rightfield, and Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Deezer, whatever you got, we're there.
Yep, the album is Rightfield 1. Like I said, it's everywhere you can stream music. And thank you all for listening and watching.